Hi, good morning. This is Sunil Subramaniam, Managing Director of Sundaram Mutual. Um, Cafemutual has always been close to our company's heart, and we have always been an active participating sponsor in every conference of Cafemutual. Uh, I have been asked to give the keynote address. I would have loved to have been present personally there and do this to you, but my touring travel engagement on official work has unfortunately taken me into Gujarat, and I'm not able to be physically present. However, I do not want to let go of this opportunity to talk to you all about what I feel about this theme of the conference, which is essentially anti-fragile, dynamic, and innovative. So it's a very interesting topic, if I may say so, and I hope it has piqued your interest. The reason I say that is that barring the last month or so, over the last few months, we've been a recipient of strong FII flows, taken our markets to lifetime highs, started worrying about valuations. Small caps and mid caps have been doing very well, and hence it seems like it's a hunky-dory situation. Yes, the last month has been a dampener because of FII outflows, but by and large, the solidity of the India growth story due to the demographic dividend that we face, the China plus one opportunity that presents itself in front of us, we've all been kind of feeling that it's a great year time for a great decade for India and hence for the stock markets and the capital markets. But as recent events, more notably the war that Israel and Hamas are currently undergoing, has revealed to us there's nothing that you can take for granted. Yes, we all know that the economic growth of India should translate into EPS growth for the stock market companies and hence deliver value to our investors. In that perspective, right, such shocks do come and take a little bit of the air out of the continuous growth story. So I would akin this to a journey that we are going from here to heaven, and the stairway to heaven is not a smooth road, right? There are known speed breakers put at every stage, which happens because we all know that our country is dependent on oil, for example. And every winter, oil prices spike. Every summer, they come down. So there is this sinusoidal move in terms of the FII flows into our country. At the same time, there are unexpected potholes, like the sudden Russia-Ukraine war or the sudden Israel-Hamas war, and those things which come in and disturb the continuity of our journey to a much higher plane, right? So as distributors, right, we have been very hard at work and have phenomenally increased the penetration of the mutual fund industry and brought a lot of new customers into the fold, all of whom should have a happy investing experience if you last the distance of the next 10 to 15 years and take advantage of India's growth story. But as we all know, investing is not just a logical, rational action. It is an emotional action. It's driven by fear and greed from our investors and from our distributors who react to temporary crisis in a very panicky way, tend to pull out money when it's wrong. COVID being the greatest example, when due to COVID, we saw our investors pull out money when FIs were actually investing in us. And hence, those who pulled out lost a huge opportunity for wealth creation. Now, as a distributor, as an MFD, how is it that you can act in such situations, right? When common sense seems to say pull your money out, but we all know that in the long term, wealth creation happens when you put rupee cost averaging to work, which is when you buy low, when the markets are low, because then you can encash your wealth creation, that is sell high when your goals are near to achievement, right? So this conference, when it talks about anti-fragile, dynamic, innovative, is actually addressing this aspect, that in the fragility of a world with political dispersion, with a whole lot of wars fighting against each other, with gold and oil and other asset class fighting against each other, in a fragile world, how do you be anti-fragile? How do you maintain a composure and grow your business in this situation? We know that the economic fundamentals of our country are going to be supportive of this journey. We know that domestic flows, which is a no small effort due to all of you MFDs who has taken on board a whole set of new customers into our industry in this last few years and taken the retail participation to overtake the institutional participation in our stock markets, which is a great big claps to all of you in this phenomenal rise. The second thing on which we should pride ourselves is the amount of the SIP business growth that we have brought in. We have learned from our past experiences that markets at lifetime highs, whenever they touch, tend to correct. and use that to make sure the customer's journey is far more smooth by increasing the SIP allocation from customer, especially new customers. We have done that. At the same time, we know that investors, driven by greed, driven by their tendency to look at past returns, have tended to chase returns rather than to invest in the right asset class, right? The most recent example being the massive run in the small cap indices, as a result of which small cap funds delivering phenomenal returns has led to more and more investors opting to make their investment in small cap. You've seen that from a pair space of 50 lakh folios, you have now gone to 1.4 crore folios, and small cap folios have actually overtaken large cap and mid cap in terms of number of folios in the industry. Now, as we all know, small caps, while in the long run, in an economic bull cycle, will give better returns than mid caps and large caps. We all know that the journey will be far more volatile. And how an emotion of an investor, when a market goes through its correction phases, how will he react to it? How will you handle? And that's where the anti-fragility comes in, because you've got to be proactive. You've got to be dynamic in handling those investors in those times. Your hand-holding of the investor in times of crisis will hold you in far greater good than just going and selling more to him when times are great, right? So that's where I think the key element that's going to hold all of us in good stead is, first of all, goal-based allocation. Because what goals do is it gives a finality. It gives you a lighthouse against your ship can go, right? To know that's the direction in which I need to head. Second thing that a goal-based investing does is it helps you to book profits and take out money from the markets when those goals are achieved, independent of what your view of the markets is. Because customers need not to just look at paper wealth, but need to get rupee wealth, touch and feel it in terms of actually achieving something in their life. It could be like upgrading to a much better Mercedes-Benz car. It could be taking a wife or spouse out on a family cruise. It could be anything. But it's important that almost every investment that you source from a customer, please link it to a goal. And that's where your own skill sets in terms of how do you do goal planning, how do you do that is important. The second step behind goal planning is asset allocation. We all know that while equities are going to deliver in the long run, while debt mutual funds have had a taxation hit in the recent finance bill, we know that proper asset allocation across multiple asset classes is the right way, because diversification, which reduces risk but does not reduce reward as much, right? Because of the low correlation among these asset classes, is the right way to go. So your skill set around how do you do asset allocation and link it to goal planning is another key thing. I do hope during the course of this conference, there'll be some inputs which will help you in that. The third thing, which is a protection, which is now turning inwards to your own business, is that your customer is not only your customer. He is a customer perhaps of other distributors. He's a customer of a bank. He's a customer of an insurance company. He's a customer of a fixed deposit seller. So he's got multiple. But as a mutual fund distributor, the customer looks to you as a friend, philosopher, and guide. So how do you provide advice in terms of the product boutique available, the suitability to them across a range of asset classes is going to be key, because then your penetration into his wealth basket, right? The share of wallet that you can get is one of the biggest defenses that you can build against the volatility that is inevitable in our stock market journey. So from that penetration of the wallet, you have to position yourself more or less like a financial supermarket. You have to have the ability, even if you don't offer the product, you have to link up with people who offer that product. So the customer comes to you as a first thought when he thinks, I have cash on hand, I need to allocate, I'm overexposed to equities. What else do I do? You should be the person he should call. So I think strengthening the wallet share is critical here, right? The third thing there is that inevitably you cannot depend only on your existing customer base. You have to expand your customers. We all know the story of the low mutual fund penetration vis-a-vis bank deposits, vis-a-vis post office savings schemes, and all the other asset classes, right? And so you have to go and acquire new customers. Now, word of mouth is one thing, but the beauty of this is today is that some years ago, right, we were looking at retail as too painful. We are saying, who's going to go after a 10,000 rupee customer, go and grab him. But today, thanks to technology, Thanks to the fact your KYC can be done in half an hour today. Thanks to the fact that execution is completely electronically available today through multiple platforms, right? Acquiring customers at the bottom of the pyramid and increasing your customer base is your best protection, because the smaller the customer value, the less that he is going to be worried about what's happening to his portfolio with you. One. Two, he is going to be less tending to look at going to direct, going to passives, or the like, right? So I think that's the second point I wanted to say. And bear in mind that these asset classes may not give you the same amount of trail commission as equities as an asset class does. That's okay. You look at the share of wallet of the customer, even if you're adding products at a lower revenue stream, that's okay. It's your hold into the customer. How many fingers can you put in the customer's pie and build that relationship with him is what's going to help him. Second thing, like I said, is to expand it. Word of mouth, of course, is a key, but I would say use the internet, use the web, use web-based marketing services, use tie-ups, use linkages with other MFDs to form a group marketing platform so you can share the cost of marketing and reach out. And definitely tap on the fact that AMCs, thanks to COVID coming and making Zoom a big part of our life, right? You can use AMC CEOs and heads of sales and CIOs to reach out to new customers. You can actually hold programs where you call out all your contacts and their contacts and have the AMC address them, right? AMCs are more than willing to help you in the journey. It's up to you to fully utilize that. In fact, you should be demanding that of the asset managers, that they should help you in the customer acquisition process. So in this context, right, where we now talk about adding customers, penetrating the wallet, doing goal planning, all of it, let's not forget one thing, right? There's enough good news around, but that good news is tempered with volatility and fluctuation in terms of news. So knowledge that you bring to the table is absolutely key. Hence, allocating a couple of hours of your time every day, right, to reading up from international news, the Wall Street Journal, the London FT, and the likes, and from domestic good quality news journals, right? I think is key, because you have to be on top. Your customer has today got an information overload. In that information overload, how do you go and make sense to him? How do you cut out the clutter and go and tell him specifically how these actions are impacting his portfolio and how either he should be worried or not worried? These are the things that you have to keep in mind, right? So invest in yourself in terms of education, right? A CFE is a stepping stone along the way, but far more qualifications, right? And a final point I want to make is that I've talked about the asset classes. You can always now use multi-asset funds to get gold and commodities into your customer portfolio. You can get hybrid funds to add debt in a tax-efficient way, but you're still talking about a capital market and financial instrument. But customers' needs go far beyond that. What do I mean? A customer is worried about what happens after him. So estate planning is important. Every customer has a need to take care of his family. So selling him term insurance, it may not be very remunerative to sell term insurance, but you have to do that to help the customer protect his wealth. So that should be a key part of your portfolio. Estate planning, will writing, right? Now there are enough resources available today in the marketplace for you to do that. But are you alive to those? Are you spending enough time on those so that when you talk to the customer, you're not just going and saying, sir, this product is good, please sell it. No, you're going to talk about a solution-based approach. I think finally, that's what I want to say, that anti-fragility, dynamism, innovation is all if you are thinking for the customer, right? Like the assembly said, right? Well, think about what you can do for the country and not the country can do for you. So think about what you can do for the customer's needs in terms of solutions, and not that the customer is a kamadhenu to give you a revenue stream. That will automatically follow through. But if you put the customer at the centerpiece of your thought process and think for him, perhaps sometimes it may lead to your needing to redeem something which is earning you a good trail, but to satisfy the customer. Right. So I think that's where, if you think for the customer, then you know what will happen. You will be doing customer delight, because what will happen is the customer may have forgotten their spouse's birthday. But if you remember it and you then redeem a portion of his investments, maybe a portion of the profits, and give it to him and say, sir, this is the thing, madam, this is the thing, your spouse's wedding anniversary, your wedding anniversary or your spouse's birthday is on the cards. Would you like to buy her something? So those kind of proactive approach are what lead from just a normal customer satisfaction to a customer delight approach. So I think finally, that's the message I want to leave with you. throughout the conference, I would like you to think through the conference in terms of your customer. He should be at the centerpiece of your thought process and your learning. And once you then keep, it's not about a one-time effort, right? What you pick up today in terms of clues and headwinds and tailwinds are something that you have to do every day of your journey with your customer base, right? So constantly active, constantly learning is the key. So ultimately, I believe that knowledge is the best solution. So knowledge will make you the person who's providing thought leadership to your customer and earn his respect. And when you earn his respect, and then the trust follows. When they have respect and trust for you, then don't worry about wallet share, don't worry about word of mouth. These will automatically happen. In fact, what I am sharing with you is what I've learned from many MFDs with whom I've interacted over my last 18 years at Sundaram, right? And it's their best practices that I am putting out on the table to you. So it's not rocket science. It's not something that I'm coming from somewhere. I'm only telling you what among your MFD customer, your MFD partners, your friends and competitors, these are the things which have made them successful, and those MFDs who have seen phenomenal growth are taking, if not all, at least some of these and practicing this. So with those few words, let me wind up my speech today, wishing you all the very best. Have a great day of learning and a great day of enjoyment, and look forward to meeting with you at another occasion when I hopefully will be physically present. All the very best. This is Sunil Subramaniam signing off. Thank you very much.